Hey there, Julian from Memberstack here, and in this video I'm going to show you how to do something super important, which is adding paid plans to your Memberstack and Wized site. And there are two ways to do this. I'm going to show you both. The first one is the Memberstack method, and that is just adding everything through the standard Memberstack attributes. The second one is the Wized method, which is doing it through Wized actions and requests. So there are pros and cons to both. First things first, the Memberstack method. It is the easiest way to set up. I personally recommend that everybody does that to start because it handles everything for you. There's less of a chance that you're going to make a mistake. It's just the fastest way to get started. Then there's with Wized actions and requests, and that way is far more complicated, but it's also far more powerful. It gives you access to send data, receive data while this process is going on. So let's say you want to update something in your Xano or Supabase database during the sign up process. You can do that if you're using Wized actions and requests. So for that reason, I'm going to show you how to first do the easy Memberstack method, and second, how to do the more powerful but complicated Wized method. So first things first, we need a price. We need a plan. So here we are in Memberstack. Let's go ahead and click add plan. We're going to do paid plan, and then let's call this super plan. Then let's create that. And I've already connected Stripe to this account, so I'm going to click create price and it'll let me. If you haven't yet, then it is going to ask you to do that. It's just a few clicks. So let's just call this super monthly, and let's make this $1.50 every month. We could also add setup fees, trials, whatever we want to do, but let's just keep it simple. So let's click create price. As you can see there, once you create a price, it can't be edited. So keep that one in mind. Now we have this, and let's click install and publish over here. And then what we need to do is get our ID. So we have two options here, data MS price update and data MS price add. Update is the attribute you want to add if the user already has a plan and you're replacing it. Add is if you want them to be able to have multiple. So I'm going to go ahead and do add here. So let's copy this ID. And then let's go into Webflow. And here we have a sign up form with Memberstack. So we have data MS form sign up attribute on the form. We have data MS member email on the email input, data MS member password on the password input. Then on the form, we also have data MS price add. So let's go ahead and paste our ID in, and let's go ahead and hit publish. And then let's give it a go. So there we go. Let's go ahead and refresh right there. And let's just say new one at jj.com and enter in some bogus password. Now let's hit sign up. So what we're going to see is that this is going to take us over to the Stripe checkout. First, Memberstack is saying copy Stripe test card information and continue to checkout. So let's go ahead and paste that in. 0259, very long lasting card, and enter some number in there, enter some name in there. Now, if I hit subscribe, then it is going to redirect us back to the site, and voila. If I go into Memberstack, which I'll do in a second, once this is done doing its thing, we're going to see that the member is in Memberstack, the price is added, and payments are happening. So here we are. I'm going to need to refresh just to make sure this shows up. As we can see, new one at jj.com is right there with super plan added. So that's it. That is the easiest method. It is so simple, and it is all you need for most applications. But the Wiz method is super powerful. So let's get into that one right now. We already have our plan created. We don't need to do anything else directly in Memberstack. We just need to make sure that ID is copied. And now let's go into Wized. And first things first, let's step back into Webflow and take a look at the attributes that we have. So for Wized, everything needs to have attributes so that Wized recognizes it. Anything that Wized needs to touch, that is. So we have Wized sign up form, we have Wized sign up email on the input, and Wized sign up password on the password input. So we're already good to go there. Let's just leave that as is. Now let's head back over here into Wized. And first of all, you need to connect Memberstack. So I've already done that, as we can see. You're just going to want to go to your apps up there. You're going to want to hit plus like that. Give it a name. Usually Memberstack is good. select Memberstack, get your public key from Memberstack, go to DevTools, and then right here, you can copy your public key. So we already have that. We don't need to do that. I'm going to go ahead and grab that price ID for my clipboard. There we go. Okay, so I have that now. And here we are in Wized. Let's just go ahead and close this off because we've already done that. And now let's go to requests. So a very quick lesson in Wized, if you don't already know. Requests are basically how data is being sent, what data is being sent. And then actions are when the data is being sent, what's going to make that happen. So first things first, we need to define what's being sent. Let's call this MS signup. And then we are going to want to select Memberstack. And for method, we're going to want to do sign up email plus password. Now we're going to type in return and we're going to select this input. So again, if you don't know, with Wized, you usually end up typing return at the start of the function just because that's what you're trying to pass through. We want to pass through the value of this input. So return the value of the input. Now let's do the same thing for the password. Return sign up password, and there we go. Now, as we can see, we have some other options here. For example, plans, we don't need that. This is for free plans. So there we go. Now we're going to want to do another request, and this is to add the plan. And this is going to happen after they sign up. We'll get into the actions in just a second. So let's call this MS add price, and then select Memberstack, and we're going to want to find purchase plan. Just like that, and then return, add some quotes, and paste that ID in there. Then you can define a cancel URL, a success URL, or you can just set it to auto redirect. We're going to leave that basic as is. So our requests are now done. Now let's go into our actions and let's create those actions. So first things first, we need to make the sign up happen. So let's call this MS sign up again. We're going to want to do element because this is happening based on an element. And that element is a sign up form. When is it going to happen? Well, on an event. Which event? Submit. So let's select that and we're good to go. Prevent default means don't submit it as a Webflow form, which we don't want that. So check off prevent default. And then for action, do perform request and do MS sign up. So there we go. Now we've just got one more action to make, and that is MS add price. So MS underscore add price, select event, because this time we're not waiting for an element to be interacted with, we're waiting for something to happen. And that something is the sign up being completed. So let's go ahead and select this trigger right here. Request finishes, MS sign up. We can add some conditions to be, let's say, if it's only on this specific page, if the member has this custom field, anything that we want. And that's why it's so powerful with the Wized method, because we have super, super, super strong control over literally everything. But we don't need that right now. So anyways, MS sign up. Once the sign up is finished, what do we want to do? We want to perform a request, and that request is MS add price. So again, we can do conditional here, and that's it. So now let's go ahead and try it out. So I noticed the Stripe checkout gets a bit wonky when you're actually in the Wized editor, so I'm just going to go ahead and open it live. There we go. I've refreshed, and let's just go ahead and enter aaa@aaa.com and enter some bogus password, and let's go ahead and hit sign up. So now, after a second, as we can see, it is launching the Stripe checkout, and again, let's just enter some bogus information and hit subscribe. So now again, it's loading, and like always, Stripe test checkout takes far too long, but you know, that's fine. Here we are. We can have a nice little conversation while we wait. How's your day been? All right, that's enough. It worked. So as we can see, it redirected me back here. Now let's go into Memberstack to see if everything went as expected. So here we are. Let's go to members. And if it doesn't load in a second, sometimes you need to refresh, sometimes you don't. So let's refresh, and as we can see, aaa@aaa.com is a new member with Superplan active. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff that you can do. Like I mentioned, with Wized, while this is going on, you can update your database, you can update the member, you can do whatever you want. So it's a super powerful method, but as you can see, it takes longer to set up. And even with that, there are things that I didn't do, such as I did not add a loading state. I did not set up redirects. All of these things need to be handled if you're using Wized actions and requests. You need to make sure to do all these things. If you're using Memberstack, for the most part, they are handled automatically for you. So that's about it. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I hope this helped, and I will talk to you in the next video. Have a great day.